All right. Hi, everybody. We have an amazing guest on Reach Yoga TV. So we have a lovely interview today with my friend, Amanda Dejak. And she's an author and a hydrotherapist. Is that how you say it?
Colon hydrotherapist.
Colon
Yeah.
hydrotherapist. And that is how we actually know each other. So I've asked Amanda on because I want to ask you, thanks, a few of the basic questions because you know how enthusiastic I am about colonics. But it's funny how when I tell someone about it, people people aren't as enthusiastic as I am.
Yeah.
And I'd
Try
like
telling
to.
people that's what you do for a living.
Oh, right. That's awesome. But I kind of wanted to demystify colonics with you today.
Mhm.
So let me ask you a couple questions, and thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate your time. First question right away is, why colonics? Why would we do that?
Well, I like to liken it to it's the same as like why do people wash out their garbage bins? So you take your trash out every week, but sometimes there's residual waste or there's a leak in the bag and there's just that sticky, gross stuff that's stuck in the trash can. And so if you never clean that out, then that just allows like bacteria to grow, fermentation, and it's just a really disgusting area. But with the colon, yeah, we have bowel movements and that removes the bulk of whatever we need to eliminate. But there's always those little bits of stuff that can be left behind. And if we never clean that out, then that encourages fermentation, that encourages bad bacteria to grow. So it's when I encourage colonics because it allows us to make sure that we're fully, thoroughly cleaning out the large intestine so that our body can properly detox and then get rid of all of the junk that it's actually already worked hard to process out of your system.
Right, right. Thank you. Um, so then who gets colonics? Who are colonics for?
Yeah, I think that colonics generally could be for anybody. There's a small group of people that shouldn't get colonics. So typically, like if you've had any sort of abdominal or intestine related surgeries, depending on the trimester that you're in, if you're pregnant, if you're actually having acute abdominal pain currently and you don't know why, those are certain situations where you would want to just get a doctor to check somebody out first before doing a therapy. But generally the majority of people would benefit from doing a colonics, whether you're somebody that goes to the toilet 3 times a day to sometimes I hear of some people who only go once every 2 weeks, which in cases like that you would any one of those people would benefit greatly from being able to just properly cleanse their system out.
Right. And do you find in your profession that some of those people, because as a yoga teacher, I hear this from people that they aren't going to the bathroom enough and they get into yoga and it starts massaging everything, and that's quite helpful. So do you do colonics like sort of once and there you go? Is it, how often would you do colonics?
So that can depend on per person, per case. So typically, if somebody is uh, or tends to the side of being constipated, then I would suggest always to do like a series of colonics initially, just because it might take some time to properly be able to hydrate and properly clean out the colon. But typically, colonics is something that, sure, you could do it once and be like, man, that made me feel so good. But then why wouldn't you want to do that again? Why wouldn't you want to? You don't have to, not everybody has to be on a routine where they're doing it on a regular basis. But my suggestion for the average person that, most of us say, oh, yeah, we're healthy people. We watch what we eat. We're active. I go to the washroom regularly. For that type of person, I would suggest a session with the change of seasons because your body's going through a shift. And so why not help it through that shift? And for some people, They try and do a little bit more cleansing through the spring and the fall because they're the best cleansing season. So do do a series of colonics at that time. And then others who do it, they realize how good they feel, and they can start to feel the sluggishness that comes with buildup of toxins. Then do it once a month or as you feel you need it. Before, when we could travel and we can fly, I always used to suggest when you come back from a trip, because the dehydration from an airplane, the time change, most people, I know for myself, it throws my digestion off completely. So those are always good times I suggest for people to come in for sessions as well.
Right. So it's really, you pay attention to yourself. And I guess, and we'll put your contact info, of course, on the Reach Yoga website, but it'll be below this video too. And if anybody doesn't know, like, if they've had a
Yeah.
colonic with you and then 3 weeks later, they're like, can I come today? You could say, well, okay, I do want to ask this.
Yes.
Because I think people need to know it. And, even though I'm old hat at this, it's still, when I come there, you're like, how you doing? And I'm like, acting casual, right? You're able to actually read what's being released from us in some way. So can you just walk me through, if I was a first timer, what happens? Tell me what
All
happens
right.
when I come to you.
So typically, I mean, aside from doing all the necessary paperwork, all of that's out of the way already. So when you come in, we obviously try and want you to feel as comfortable as possible. So you get a sense of the space that you're in. There's always a bathroom that is right off of the treatment room. So you don't have to go out anywhere when you have to go to the washroom afterwards. But typically, we would start off, you just keep your clothes from the waist up on. Everything else comes off, but we have either a sheet or these disposable shorts for you to put on, so you're covered. And then we lay you down on the table, do a little abdominal massage and see how you feel. And then once that's done and we have an idea, we've had conversation about how often you go, what your bowel movements are like. We know we are getting to know each other a little bit. Then we'll start the session. So it's a gentle flow of water that we're using to clean out the large intestine. So a small speculum, it's about as long as your thumb, gets inserted into the rectum. So for those less than 4 seconds that it takes to insert that, that's when you're on your side. We have to insert the speculum. And then as soon as that's done, you're back on your back, completely covered. And we start the water gently, and we're allowing the water to flow in and out simultaneously so that waste can come out as it needs to. But what's really cool about it is that we're actually getting the colon to exercise. So that flow of water, that is what builds up a little bit of pressure in your colon, which sends the signal to your brain. You need to start contractions in the large intestine because we need to get some of the stuff out. So it's really cool to see, like, some people who come in, you can see the contractions of their colon actually sort of shaking the tube as things are starting to eliminate, because now we're actually getting your colon to do the muscular contractions that it needs to, and it's getting a little workout throughout the session.
Yeah, it's amazing. Also, I'll ask you this. Sometimes when I leave from the session with you, I can't believe how clear my eyesight is. I don't know why that is. Like, I feel so refreshed, and
Mhm.
any kind of aches and pains, what does it get rid of back pain? Like, sometimes I feel I don't know. I just think it's tense muscles, and then I leave your place and
Mhm.
it's like pains are gone.
Well, you're not the only person that said that, but we have to consider too that our rectum, it puts pressure on our lower back too. If our colon starts to hold on to more waste than it needs to, then that is pressure that it's starting to put on our skeletal system, the nerves in that area as well. So once we clear that out, it does lighten actually what your abdomen and your pelvis has to carry. But also what is nice about it is it now allows, so you imagine your liver's trying to detox and it's always sending stuff like the waste to your colon. Once we clear that out, then the liver's like, all right, we've got free, like we can go full blast because now there's room and there's more room. And I feel like a weight has been lifted off my shoulder. So it actually helps reduce inflammation as well. It also properly hydrates you because your colon is where you absorb all the water you need to stay hydrated. So even sometimes that will allow you to feel better because your system's properly hydrated. And I mean, your eyes are linked to your liver. So if we've just taken a little bit of a load off your liver, then that would also explain perhaps a little bit why you feel more clarity. But I know for me, what sold me on it, my mom got us to start doing these treatments when we were in our late teens. And I remember always having brain fog throughout school. And I would go for a treatment, and it would be the first time that I'd be like, this is how my brain is supposed to feel. This is what it's like to have ideas and be able to fully see them, you know? So that is one of the the benefits of it afterwards as well that a lot of people don't expect.
That's right. It's the release of brain fog. That's what I was like, is my eyesight better? But it's like I'm refreshed in the mind. And thank you for saying that about the hydration, because I always am so surprised at how great my skin feels.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Another question. In your professional opinion, do people know their bodies well? Like, do we know our systems and how it works? And I'm asking you this leading up to your book, okay? Because I want to talk about your new book. But do you find people know their systems well?
No, I'm gonna have to say, like, if I didn't study health health and nutrition and go into this field, I would be in the exact same boat where you have a liver, you have kidneys, but where they are and what exactly they do is generally not something that we're discussing with each other over dinner and with our friends. So I do find, and that's what motivated me to do this book, was because I had patients coming in or clients coming in, and I'd be talking about them of where they're feeling their pain. The number one thing is, oh, my stomach's been hurting me. So then I realized that I would always, in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, they mean up here where your stomach is. And then I realized, no, they actually mean lower down their intestines, because for us, our whole abdomen is our stomach, right? So that is what actually motivated me to write this, because I was finding that I had to explain to people what their organs did, where they were, for them to get a proper understanding of, like, oh, right, I should probably be taking care of them. And that's what I thought. I thought, if I'm teaching this to adults, then this education needs to start much younger for us to all grow up knowing where our organs are, knowing what they do, and then knowing that we should be paying attention to them and taking good care of them. So, sorry, you go.
No, I'm just so excited, and I love that you wrote this book. So The Town and Me is Amanda's new release, which, congratulations. I see it climbing up on Amazon's new releases. Like, good for you. It's amazing.
Thank you.
And I of course ordered it right away because I love you so much. And it's such a good book, and it's so sweet. And like, I got educated, and I'm in the health, profession, and I just love it. And uh, it is for adults too. Like, it's
Yeah.
hilarious and adorable and smart, and it's so good. Thank you for
Thank
writing
you.
this.
Oh, thank you. I'm so grateful that you
Yeah,
like it so
I'm
much.
gonna put a link to the Amazon link on this on our video here. I have one more question, if you don't mind.
No,
What
of course.
what are there things that you recommend for us to do, sort of to be preemptive, like to make sure that when we come to you, that we're in, the best shape ever, and we're
Mhm.
using our colonics to just go to the next level, not because we've shown up because something's gone so wrong. Like,
Right.
what do we do in between colonics to make your job easier, really?
So when you told me you were going to ask me this question, I thought of five things that everyone can do to help with their digestion. And the number one is the simplest, which is just chew your food. Chew your food, because after your teeth, there's nothing else that can break down your food with that sort of ferocity, if I can use that word, because your stomach, yeah, it has the stomach acids and it can kind of squeeze it, but it can't break it down to the level that we can with with our teeth. So when that's happening, when we don't chew our food, we're not getting as much nutrients out of our food. So sure, well, you can buy all the organic best food you could possibly buy, but you're not getting the nutrients if you're not chewing your food. And you're not supposed to have undigested food chunks in your colon, because that's what causes fermentation. And the amount of times I could tell somebody what they ate exactly, because I have full chunks of mushroom, sweet potato. I've seen French fries, broccoli. So chewing your food, number one. Drinking water, number two, because a dehydrated colon or dehydrated body will just keep drawing water out of your stool. And that's what causes hard, painful stool. And those take a little bit longer in a colonics treatment to pass, because we have to first hydrate your system. Number three would be allowing at least 12 hours between your dinner and your breakfast. So your body has a period of time where it just gets to do some repair work and doesn't have to worry about digesting. Number four would be to stay away from foods you know you have sensitivities to. It seems like an obvious one, but we all do it. We all know the foods that don't do well with our systems, but just to avoid those. And then the last one would be just to try and think throughout the day of how you'll incorporate healthy fibers into your insoluble or soluble, into your day. So it doesn't all have to be in each meal, but just make sure that throughout each day you're incorporating some form of fiber in one of your meals at least. So yeah, those 5 things.
Awesome. Awesome. Maybe I'll put those in the, the little write up under our video too. Amanda, thank you so much. You
Thank
are
you.
just so much fun and so lovely. And I really appreciate you doing this interview with me, so I can share with the community. And yeah.
Well,
Thank
thank
you so
you.
much.
Thank you. I know I don't get to see everyone who watches it, so I do want to say thank you and hello to everybody that gets to see it. And thank you for taking the time and for even thinking of doing this with me. So thank you, Kathy.
Most excellent. All right, hon. I will see you soon. Thank you so much.